Right, let's get this done. Right guys, let me get my patch note thingy set up. So team, let's talk about this. Here we go. Oh, first change, definitely don't miss this, actually. Consume Plasma. This skill has been split between PvP and other game modes, reducing protection from 10 seconds to 4 seconds and stability from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. So this is basically... This is targeted at probably like a lot of Soul Beast, a lot to be fair. Actually, it's like Thief and Soul Beast, right? Yeah, of course, yeah, yeah. It's obviously pretty rough for Thief as well, Thief and Soul Beast, of course. But I would imagine that they probably aren't too happy with the whole Soul Beast Mega Ecto situation, right? Are they with the boon duplication, copy bounce weird memes, you know? In this update on Elementalist, there have been some modifications to Tempest Overloads to allow for 10 target applications of select boons. We've also made some quality of life changes for the Scepter weapon. Most of the instant damage traits have been standardized, so they do not critically hit, but Electric Discharge will retain its full damage capability when it critically hits a foe. So, Dragon's Tooth. The casting time of this skill has been reduced from 1.25 to 0.75. Phoenix now applies 1 stack of burning for 6 seconds to enemies struck by zero attacks. That's okay. Ice Spike. This skill now strikes first before applying vulnerability. So, oh, dude, that fucking fat Ice Spike damage. Holy shit, dude. Okay. 5%. Riptide. They fixed a bug on Riptide so it doesn't interrupt itself, I guess. Yep. Okay, yeah, it doesn't go on full cooldown after you get interrupted. Overload Water. This skill now applies Vigor for 5 seconds upon completion. The number of targets this skill affects has increased by 5 to 10. Overload Earth. The number of targets the skill affects has been increased from 5 to 10. Overload Fire. Fixed a bug in which the skill hit fewer times than intended when the elementals were affected by quickness. So, wow. I mean, this is pretty big change here, okay? Like, just talk about the overloads there for a second. Like, this is actually a really big deal. So, the Vigor thing, for a start, let's look at Overload Water, okay? So, Overload Water. This is now a 10-target condition removal pulsing ability. So, in World vs. World, this is pretty fucking good, dude. Like, and again, like oh my god, this ability is good. Right, so now you might actually be incentivized to use it. My worry for this ability, particularly in PvE, is that you're really disincentivized to use Overload Water, and the same is kind of true in World vs. World, I think, actually, as well. You don't really want to use this ability because you want to be able to get back to water when you need to. But honestly, it's really fucking strong now, dude. Okay, it's really, really strong. So you remove 10 conditions per second, right? Okay, that's pretty fucking good, right? That's a juicy piece of value there. But the other thing is it applies Vigor when you finish. Okay, and what does Vigor do? Well, there's a trait, Latent Stamina, in Tempest, which means whenever you apply Vigor, you restore Endurance. Okay? And Endurance is dodging, right? So this means when you finish your Water Overload, you give everyone 10 Endurance, which is effectively 2 full dodges to your entire group, right? Because you give 10 people 10 Endurance, which is 100 Endurance. So yeah, this is pretty good, right? This is a pretty strong ability. Again, it's not as good as you might think, because this isn't something you want to spam off cooldown. But yeah, this is still a pretty good change, and I think a lot of the heal Ellie mains are going to be very happy with this. Like you should be pretty fucking happy with this. The same is definitely true of Earth Overload, right? It really is. So Earth Overload is 10 targets. Now, what I want to know is this does it like do the enemies get hit? Is it 10 targets on enemies as well? Because then that's extra spicy. You can like immobilize 10 people for 4 seconds when you finish Overload Earth. That's pretty good. You know that? So you with these sorts of changes, you got to look at it from both sides, boys. You know what I mean? You got to look at it from both sides of the equation. But this is now 10 target protection for Ellie. Now, this change. Now, obviously, I think what they were probably targeting is perhaps PvE with this, an alternative to Stone Spirit. But consider the following, guys. Okay, can you keep up 100% protection uptime with just Earth Overload on 10 people? I think it will be very difficult. I think Stone Spirit is still way better. Unless it's been nerfed and I just haven't got to it yet, guys. So, I mean, this isn't going to be a protection source, because everything else you have is 5 target, right? Like, it's not, you know, this ain't going to cut it. It ain't going to cut it, boys. Honestly, I tell you what, though, this combined with Signet of Inspiration, that'll do it. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that's going to go, guys, you know? Very interesting change, though. Very interesting change, I have to say. And we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it actually goes down. You know, we will have to see how this one kind of transpires, I suppose. But yeah, good change. Good in World versus World, of course. You know, 10 targets is always good there. So Heal Ellie, you know, getting those buffs in World versus World, which is nice. I really love the class. I think Heal Ellie is great. And yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this one goes in PvE. It's definitely a lot stronger. Like, extra vigor is always nice. Extra protection is also really good as well. I do want to see some hilarious memes. Like, I can kind of see a world where you're on Heal Ellie, right? Okay, you're on Heal Ellie, and you charge up your Earth Overload, right? And then you like lightning flash at the last second. You lightning flash onto the enemy Zerg. And you immobilize 10 people for 4 seconds. Like, I can kind of see something like that happening. That sounds pretty disgusting, to be honest. Like a big meme. And you're minstrel Heal Ellie, right? So you can just get out. You don't give a fuck. You can just like go fire and just starve for it. Yeah. Arcane Precision. So they buffed that. This is like a buff to Condi Ellie, I guess, right? Okay, yeah, all right, yeah. Condi Ellie, there you go. A little bit of a buff there. Ether Renewal. This gunner removes conditions before each healing pulse. They do this in order to to counter poison, right? Like to make it like less affected by poison, right? So again, and this change combined with some other stuff like Dragon's Tooth and the Phoenix, and well, I guess they're trying to like do something with like Fresh Air Ellie, I guess. Although then again, they've kind of memed this. Okay, if you look at this. The damage of this trait has been increased by 20% and no longer. Oh yeah, this is just normalization. Earthen Blast. This is like when you attune to Earth. So they increase the damage, but it can't crit. So basically, most of the time this is worse, I guess. But if you play Heal Ellie, it's better, I guess, because you know you don't crit on Heal Ellie that much anyway, I guess, and you don't have much Frosty anyway. All right, Electric Discharge. The critical damage of this trait has been increased by 100%. Its base damage has been reduced by 50%. So basically, if you don't crit on this thing, it fucking sucks now. And this is basically part of the Fresh Air thing. But on Fresh Air, you are going to crit most of the time anyway. But again, if you play Fresh Air Weaver now, if you don't crit, right, your damage is cucked, right? Even harder than it normally would be. So, again, they're trying to tone down some of the big spike, right? Yeah, they're trying to shut down the one-shots here. I don't know, why would you attack Fresh Air Weaver? I think it's not exactly the most egregious one, you know, but you know, okay, there you go. You know, they all get the hammer, guys. They all get the hammer. Sunspot, again, the damage of this trait has been increased by 20%. It can't crit. This is basically a nerf in PvE, probably, right? Because you have 100% crit in PvE. A 20% damage increase is nowhere near as good as critting every time. So yeah, this is like a very minor nerf, I guess. Because honestly, I don't think Sunspot was like a lot of your damage. You procced it a lot on Weaver because you just like, you dance a lot, but still, it's not really that good. Tempest Defense. This trait has been replaced by Storm Soul, and its functionality has changed. It now grants 10% increased damage against foes affected by control effects, and increases the duration of outgoing stuns by 33%. Interesting. So, here you go, Storm Soul, wow. Look at disable, no, it's just, I mean, yeah, any disable, so stun days, knockback, pull, knockdown, sink, float, launch, taunt, and fear, but
Did
the
they
duration...
ever fix scale?
No, the duration is only on stuns, right? And yeah,
okay.
only on stuns. So that will be... That doesn't actually affect that much, right? I don't think Ellie has a crazy amount of stuns. Wait,
it's like a few stuns on Ellie.
I think isn't it like this? Are they targeting? It's this thing, right? Yeah, Earthen Synergy. Yeah. It's this exact. There's this. I think Ellie has 1 stun. I think is it just this one? Smite your enemies from Earth and Sky, dealing damage from below and stunning them from above. Yeah, there you go. It's something like that. Is there? Oh yeah, there's of course a static field as well. So you have static field for more duration. So that will put up to 2.6 second stun, which is pretty hefty, to be honest, right? That's pretty hefty on that. So yeah, not bad, I guess. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, again, so they want you, interesting, they want you to run Storm Soul on Fresh Air Ellie, right? They want you to run this, so they want on Fresh Air Weaver, right? They want you to land your Earth and Synergy, and then spike people really hard on that, I guess. And, actually, I've seen Grimjack stream Fresh Air Ellie, and he does actually try and do this, so that actually might be some value there.
That's kind of what you do.
But we'll have to see. I see what they're going for with this change. So, and the Dragon's Tooth and Phoenix change also kind of play into this, right? If we go to the top again, guys. So Dragon's Tooth is going to mean that, you know, the casting time is considerably lower, actually. So again, this is something you can try and land, you know, particularly for cleaving, I suppose, on the Fresh Air Weaver and the Phoenix. You get burning. This is to do maybe like a cover condition almost, actually, and just to keep in the theme of the weapon. Now, every single Scepter attack actually applies vulnerability. Every Scepter fire skill applies a burn, right? Auto attack applies a burn, Dragon's Tooth applies a burn, and Phoenix applies a burn. So it's kind of flavor.
Having the burn modifier, so you can instant the Phoenix and have the Phoenix get the burn modifier as well. For another
10% damage potentially as well. Yeah, for that. So it's a flavoursome thing, right? And I suppose it, you know, a flavour and synergy, so that you fire it out, and you know, it's a giant fiery bird, right? And it sets them on fire. Okay. Yeah, I kind of see it. So, in other words, for Ellie, they tried to push they're slowly. What we see with ArenaNet with regards to Elementalist is we see them incrementally push the Heal Ellie archetype, right? They're slowly incrementing on it to make it good in raids. It already was good in World vs. World, and now it's a little bit better in World vs. World. I can definitely see it being pretty, you know, spicy, extra spicy. Especially seeing as like the nerfs towards Mesmer in World vs. World, right? Like, you know, that's kind of like feels bad. Oh well, we'll see about that later, guys. But trust me, it's pretty brutal actually. So maybe we'll see. You know, I think Heal Ellie should be a pretty popular pick now, and in raids it's certainly getting there. 10 target protection is really nice. 10 target water overload is again pretty good. Like suddenly you're going to be applying these massive pulsing heals. Overload water might be worth using now. Like before I would not really consider it worth using, especially in raids. Now there might be times where you want to use that, right, and kind of stay in water for a bit and limit your access to other achievements for a little while. Why do I say it that way? Is because like when you're playing Heal Ellie, right, you always want to be able to get back to water, right? Because if you leave, say if you go to like Earth, right, and you want to apply some protection or do some reflect or something like that, if you overload water, you can't get back to your healing for 17 seconds, right? Because you're playing Arcane as well with Staff Ellie. So it's something that you want to be careful with, right? When you do stuff like this, and well, potentially they want you to run this on the Dagger Warhorn build, and that's a build where you can use Overload Water a little bit as well, right? Because you're going to be actually almost playing like a DPS oriented spec and spamming auras to share the auras. But then why not make aura share 10-man? Now that will be fun in World vs. World. Okay, so not much for NG actually, and you know, do we have our consultant Angel still here about NG?
Yeah, I don't know about these changes, dude. I mean, like the Scrapper changes are interesting, right? Because it adds more damage to the class, which is like, okay, cool. I'm with this. And they changed the Grandmaster is like, all right, cool. You know, that's kind of an interesting change because I don't know, it's difficult, right? Because you want the barrier and the condition damage direction, but the damage bonus is really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
The nerf to static discharge, I think, it's okay.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing. Yeah, they're just doing this across all the classes.
I think just from quickly running around in Heart of the Mist, it's like a 33% damage reduction. It's like about 900 procs now, as opposed to about 1.2k. So I mean, I guess that's all right. And obviously, there's less scaling with might as well as a result.
Yeah, so, if you can get the juicy connections though, it should still. If you actually get lucky though, it's still the same, right?
Thermal release valve, like it no longer critically hits, which is a bit of a shame because I had a fun build in PvE with that. But yeah, well, it's like a slight nerf, but whatever. Okay, the big one really is the self-regulating defenses. It no longer makes you small. It grants barrier 3000. And protection.
Matt, this is a big one, right? Like this is gonna hit NGs a little bit. I honestly think traits like this are a bit stupid, though, right? I think the trait was ridiculous, right?
Hear me out. Okay, I don't think this changes much for NG at all. Okay, the reason is that if we look at some of the other changes that are made in this patch, you quickly realize that it's it's not going to be much of an issue. Stuff like Rev Sword 4 has been nerfed, and stuff like that. Like you're not going to be procced into S so easily. So, well, it procced into E so easily now. So it's good change actually. Good change.
Yeah, definitely a good change. Do you worry about the effect that this is going to have on the conditions though? Like if you get low on NG, right? And your XRS is about to proc, right? And you've got like a bunch of conies on you. If you have those conies on you now, you just die, right? Like that's probably like the only thing you could consider this a nerf as then, like because you don't get that invulnerability, so the conies don't stop ticking on you anymore. So you'll still tick out.
Basically, what it does is it forces you to make good play with your active Elixirus if you're running that, or to dodge the conditions. It's they haven't really added a lot of additional. They haven't added any conditioning cleanse at all. This balance patch, but yeah, it's you just have to play better, which is good.
Yeah,
playing better is good. The changes are fine. Hollow is still good. In all game modes, it doesn't really change a lot, and Scrapper gets better.
Overall, not the craziest changes to Hollow, or to NG, some kind of incremental changes. Self-regulating defenses in general, traits like this, I think, people don't really find them fun, right? I don't think they're a lot of fun to interact with. And honestly, they increased the cooldown to the point of absurdity, right? It was like 90 seconds. And if anything, I kind of feel like NGs may even get a better experience actually with this trait, right? Because they're going to have it every 40 seconds, right? So that's something they can actually use more, right? It's going to impact gameplay more, right?
And you know what? It's going to be great on Scrappity because you get bonus barrier. You get the bonus barrier. And you get the damage increase. Yeah.
Yeah, you get the damage increase as well. That's pretty good. So, I think in general, a better trait. And also, just as a side note, like it's kind of like a better flavor, right? Because you have adaptive armor and self-regulating defenses now, which both apply barrier to you. Yeah, so that's that's pretty spicy. Now let's get to the fun zone, boys. Let me log my Guardian, boys. Are we? Oh boy, are we? Guys, just so everyone knows, I have not read this at all. Just so everyone knows, I have no idea what I'm about to read. I've been told it's big though. Okay, I've been told that it's big. Okay, so let's read this. A major goal for Guardian in this update was to give it a more solid flow of Firebrand combat in raid scenarios. This involved reducing some cooldowns, giving more access to group quickness and fury, and allowing stability to effective full 10 allies. Next, access to tomes has been too high and allowed for little to no counterplay.
Wow, there we go.
Did Ben write this? To remedy this, we adjusted cooldowns in the game modes we deemed problematic and tweaked some traits that automatically refresh defensive virtues. Glacial Heart has had a larger rework based on adjustments made to both weapon and instant damage traits, and will now directly affect the hammer weapon itself. Okay, so guys, I'm just going to go for the top. Don't get overexcited. Nice. Axe, Searing Slash. We'll show these weapons. The burning duration of this skill has been increased from 1 second to 2 seconds per hit. So Axe has always been a really weird meme weapon for Firebrand in PvE, right? You play as a Condi build, right? Okay, but you've got 2 bleeds for 1 second, then 2 bleeds for 1 second, then it was 2 burns for 1 second. Now they've doubled the burning damage on that auto attack. So this is twofold, right? That's a really big, that's going to be a pretty hefty DPS increase because you're going to get, it's 4 seconds now. It's going to be 2 burns for 4 seconds on every third auto attack, which is pretty good. But this means if you cancel your auto attacks on Firebrand, Condi Firebrand, you're absolutely completely cucked, right? So it's actually interesting. It's going to be quite a skill-based rotation to actually execute this well on the Searing Slash there. So yeah, pretty interesting. The symbol now applies Fury. The symbol of Vengeance. Yeah, good change to the Searing Slash there. The symbol now applies Fury for 1.5 seconds on each pulse in addition to its other effects. The number of targets, both enemies and allies, this skill can affect has been increased from 3 to 5. So I don't know why exactly they did this. They couldn't be bothered to come up with another effect, so they just did the sword one on Symbol of Vengeance as well. Okay. I don't have much to say on this. So this isn't really. They talk about Fury being difficult in PvE, but that, I mean, was it?
Doesn't sword?
Yeah, I mean, you just played sword, but I guess they want you to play. Oh, I think do they want you to play the hybrid build? They want you to play. I think are they trying to push the hybrid here? The Like the Condi,
Harrier.
yeah, like the Condi heal firebrand. I think more like the Seraph build almost.
Maybe.
Are they trying to put? I think they might be trying to push for the Seraph build here with Actually, no, Seraph fucking sucks. Who am I kidding? I have to think about this. I'll actually have to think about this one. And of course, it affects 5 targets now. So yeah, they want you to. Oh, I think they want you to play like the Renegade, dude. They want you to play Renegade and Condi hybrid firebrand. Definitely, actually, with Axe and Seraph gear. Oh, interesting. Can this work? I mean, yeah, it definitely can. You can definitely use that to apply pretty much permanent fury.
Does that necessarily mean that you have to play heal hybrid? Like, if you just play full
DPS
fireband?
Yeah, with yeah, no, in fact, yeah, no. Oh, I'm retarded. Of course it does. Yeah, that's exactly what you do. You just play, because you can play Axe now before. Oh, I see what they've done there. Yeah, it's early, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I see. This is exactly what they've done here. Now you can play Axe instead of Sword, right? Before you were forced to play Sword to give Fury on the hybrid build, the Viper build, right? The full DPS build. But now you play Axe. You can actually play Axe, and Axe has been buffed, right, with Searing Slash. So, ooh. They've buffed my favorite build, guys. They buffed it a lot. Oh, and more! Oh! Okay. Mantra of Potence. The quickness duration of this skill is being increased from 2 seconds to 2.5 seconds. That is big, guys. Okay, that's really big. That is a 25%. Increase on quickness uptime. Again, mostly targeted at PvE, of course, here, but I think it's actually not the worst in other games as well. So if you're capped out on boon duration on this build, that's 5 seconds of quickness up from 4 seconds. That's a pretty fucking big deal. But anyway, so that is pretty big. Like, if you stack up a lot of all the traits as well, you'll see that overwhelming celebrity now has a 9.1 second cooldown. Okay, and it gives 4.25 seconds of quickness. This is in Harriers, but you could actually push this a bit more up to 100%, right? Especially with food. So if you have. Suppose if you go with Alacrity, right, it's another 20%, about 8.6, is it like 8.1 second, 8.2 second cooldown? In other words, you'll have basically nearly over 50% quickness uptime from this ability alone. So stand your ground. The number of targets the skill effects has been increased from 5 to 10. I can already see the World vs. World Discords right now, dude. Holy shit. Okay, this is obviously insane. This is obviously insane in World versus World, right, boys? So here, like, that's fucking spicy. I wonder though, is there any way you could like end up running 1 Guardian per 10 people in World versus World? Have they just added more damage? The answer is no, because everything else is still 5 targets, I think. But maybe for some like ranged groups, like you can have less Guardians in your range. Like, you can have like 9 DPS in your range setup, and you have 1 Guardian, stand your grounding them, giving them the juicy, big stability. But this is like a PvE central change, though, right? Like, interestingly enough, so the World vs. World guys will really love that. What they actually want you to do is run this in PvE, right, and give your entire group stability with a single shout, right? And yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good change. Like, it's really fucking good on Samrog, for example, especially CM, actually. Like, really, really good on Samrog CM, actually, right? Now, the hammer blow. Ladies and gentlemen, okay? The fucking hammer blow, dude. Tome of Justice, Tome of Resolve, Tome of Courage. My God. So, cooldown from 30 to 40 in PvP and World vs. World on Tome of Justice. On Resolve, 40 to 50. And Courage, 50 to 75. Ooh! Ouch! Okay, now that is brutal. Okay. Now, that just massively reduces the amount of like sustain, right? You're gonna have a way more downtime, right? Way more downtime between these terms, right? Like, way less healing, way less stability, resistance, all that stuff, right? All that good stuff. Like, this is a brutal nerf, right? I will note that it's probably not as brutal as you might think, because I think a bunch of other stuff got nerfed as well. But that is fucking savage, dude. Holy shit. Now, will this usher in? Wait, why did they do this? Why didn't they skill split this? Oh my God! What? No! Oh no! Why would you do that? Okay, so fucking hell, ArenaNet. Why would you do something like this? This is a really bizarre change, actually. But in general, like, massive utility reduction in Firebrand. Massive nerf, dude. Huge! Cataclysmic nerf to Firebrand. No Tome 3, no Tome 3. Honestly, I wonder if you even run Valor. Like, Valor also gets annihilated as well. There's this really strong trait. Okay, Courageous Return. Whenever you res someone, basically. Oh, well, it's gone now. Whenever you res someone, it would give you your F3 back. Or when you rally, you get your F3 back. Like, now it just reduces the cooldown by 10 seconds. So that's actually pretty bad. Yeah, for each ally is 6 This is not good, basically.
That's awful.
So I would, in fact, I would pretty much expect to see the Firebrand's running Virtues. You need that cooldown reduction now. You desperately need it. And hey, Battle Presence is pretty good, I guess. So I mean, yeah, I imagine you probably end up running that now. And the Consecration trait. So actually, maybe we see a more Sanctuary play. Actually, honestly, we actually might see more Sanctuary play as a result of that. Maybe over something else because. All these traits fucking suck. I mean, Retaliatory Subconscious, that's terrible. Unscathed Contender, that's obviously not very good. But yeah, so I think probably Virtues on FB now. Or maybe we see more Radiance play. Although, actually, you know what? This is actually kind of a nerf to Radiance, right? The Radiance Firebrand thing, this is a nerf to this. Because basically, if you don't have Virtues now, and you don't have all the other supportive lines, you now have way less support in general, right? Firebrand has lost a lot of its default support, and that's going to punish the Radiance build, right? The more DPS focused build. Although maybe the Radiance build can kind of compensate by having more damage, right? I don't know. Interesting. Yeah. Glacial Heart. This trait no longer inflicts area damage upon critically hitting a foe. Instead, it now inflicts a single strike that chills enemies for 2 seconds if they've been disabled by the Guardian, regardless. Oh, wow, that's a big nerf. Regardless of which weapon is equipped. The base damage of this trait has been reduced by 50%, and it can no longer critically hit. Equipping this trait now modifies Mighty Blow into Glacial Blow. Oh, shit, that's pretty cool. I love it when they do this like this. This is cool. Okay, increasing damage by 17% while chilling enemies it hits for 2.5 seconds at the cost of an increased recharge that is now 6 seconds instead of 4 seconds. The baseline hammer skills have a reduced recharge time because of this trait no longer reduces cooldowns. Oh, okay. Oh, yes, so they basically set the cooldown to be 20% low. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, fair play. So let's look at this trait. So this is, again, it's kind of aimed at Core Guard, right? They're trying to make Core Guard not one-shot you with this mega spike, right? Yeah, is what they're looking for. So we have a Glacial Blow now, here as well, which is this, cool animation. It's got a cool new icon. I love when they do stuff like this, actually. Yes, ArenaNet. Yes. Okay. So big damage, slightly longer cooldown, but AoE Chill. Obviously, AoE Chill, very strong effect. But you know what's interesting, okay? So you don't get the spike now. Oh, so what they've done is you're kind of forced to land your hammer combo, right, on base guard, right? So Glacial Blow does more damage, 17%, and you get the chill effect. But you don't get it on anything, right? If you want to get your extra damage on your judges, your teleport combo, right, on your base guard, you have to land it now. Like, now you have to land it. So basically, you can't just, like, randomly fucking nuke people. You actually have to kind of play the game, right? Which, there you go. That's a big meme right there. That's a nice meme. Next one, Liberator's Vow. Reduce the internal cooldown of this trait from 8 seconds to 7 seconds. So what they're trying to push for here is that you run, like, these two traits in conjunction almost, right? Like, would you even want to do that, though? I don't know why they did this. Because suppose you ran this trait, so weighty terms to reduce the mantras, and you want Liberator's Vow, and use the heal mantra, and you have permanent alacrity, then you can actually get more value out of this trait, basically. So, it's crazy ass, quickness uptime on this ability alone, because it's quite high duration. It goes up to 4 seconds, so you get like over 50% if you really go crazy, though. So interesting change. I think mostly like a convenience thing, I guess. I guess a convenience thing. Yeah. Okay, there you go. And they did the same with quick fire as well, as we can see here. They did the same with quick fire. Internal cooldown of the trait is reduced from 8 seconds to 7 seconds. Oh wow, holy shit, dude. They hate Firebrand. The recharge reduction on Lawmaster has been split between game modes and will now use 20% cooldown reduction in PvP while keeping 33% reduction in PvE in Wolversword. And Unbroken Lines cooldown increased to 15 seconds. And duration of the stability on the auto attack is 2 seconds in PvP. So when you use your auto attack, 2 seconds! Why don't they just delete this? Honestly, at this point, they should just rework this ability. Like, this is dog shit. Holy shit. What a terrible ability. But I mean, honestly, you barely use the auto attack anyway. Only in like a desperation situation if you like really need stability right now. Like, this is like actual trash. Right? This is so fucking bad. Yeah. So Firebrand massively. I think the only reason Firebrand. Okay, if you add these changes to Firebrand and turn back time, I'm not even sure if you would even play it. Like, this is like fucking brutal. You wouldn't be able to survive versus like other stuff previously. Now, like, this is like savage, dude. Lawmaster is brutal change here because now all your Toma skills have a longer cooldown. They were, again, like, guys, Firebrand was really OP, but everything else is really OP. So the good news is that everything's toned down, right?
They're nerfing everything. That's a thing we've been saying for months now. So nerf everything. So
that is it's a pretty good meme. Shattered Aegis! No! My love! Okay, well, this trait wasn't really that good anymore, but why? Why? It's because they're normalizing all the traits so they don't crit. But why? I loved seeing my big crits, man. Honestly, if there's any trait they should reverse this critical thing on, they should put this in fucking Shattered Aegis. This trait is hilarious, and they nerfed it brutally. 20% increase in PvE only, but it can't crit anymore. No! Oh man. Oh. Yeah. Oh, poor Shattered Aegis. Oh, man. Okay, fine. You had to die, I suppose.